Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life with an Aspie. If you're following me right now, I'm Aspie and I'm all about creating mental health and awareness versus sharing my life stories with ADHD syndrome and the like, as well as giving you guys some tips and advice along the way with managing technique and coping technique, as well as spreading some message of hope regardless of your personal struggles, and to give you some clarity, understanding and self-love and all the jazz there. Just to be in mind though, basically, as we know that with these mental health ones that I've been doing, obviously it's a given that it's going to be a bit more than usual, obviously, in that mental health part of it. So that even though I'm hoping to clarify it up, as well as some other things I would love to share with you all that has been coming to my mind of what I want to bring out after meditating and whatnot, of what I want to share. So this one's basically all about 35 things people with ADD, or shall we say ADHD, wishes and wants everyone to know. So therefore bear with me on this. As we know, many a times a lot of people praise, hopes, wishes. Others will understand that people with ADHD doesn't have a choice in how their brain function works. As it works, that's just the way it is, and it's just how they are and what they are as a person, despite their wiring. They're not basically, different people. They're just similar, but just got difference in a way of how their brain is wired. Obviously, they are human beings like any other people that may be going through their own personal struggles of their mental health or just physical health or whatever it may be that we don't see on the outside. Sometimes some people are struggling in the inside of their medical conditions, regardless what it may be, and I feel that sometimes we need to, as I keep telling you guys, just remove the stigma and stereotyping of all these mental health disorders that I'm sharing with you all, regardless what it may be, so that hopefully we can get on the same page and bandwagon and actually say, alright, this is what it is, and I choose to accept it or not. But again, it is your choice, obviously, in that matter. But don't say forever for someone with ADHD they do have a choice in this about how their brain works, because as I said, it's all in how they're wired, and we just need to, like any other mental health disorder with people with that goes through it, all their personal everyday struggles, just accept them for who and what they are, because acceptance is key, as well as being patient and having that empathy with them. So as I said before, basically this one's all about the 35 things people with ADHD people wishes and wants everyone to know. And it's basically, I'm here today as a guideline with some responses, as well as just reminders for us all, just as a gentle reminder to think about, obviously, as we may hear some of these or not. But obviously also, if there's anyone that does suffer ADHD, please comment below for any other maybe statements that you want people to hear about as well, or just share your life story or whatever it may be, because I'm opening this right now as a forum for people, or just private message me if you feel the need or have to if it rises. But before I begin to this though, however, as a side note, basically just a reminder that ADHD or ADD, as it's combined now with these two disorders, is a neurological disorder, however, that's characterized by having difficulty sustaining attention. They have by lack of self-control, basically, and impaired working memory. So let's just begin this basically as the reminders and responses. So number one is basically ADHD isn't an inability to concentrate. It's an inability to control what needs to be concentrated on. Number two, sometimes the person with ADHD focuses on literally everything at once. Number three, sometimes the person with ADHD focuses too much on one thing, which is called hyperfocus, as we know. And this is a given for people also with AspieAnswersAll syndrome. I know for a fact with some of these medical disorders, before I continue on these responses, as well as just reminders for you, is basically that it intertwines with each other, some of these things of what I'm reading. So we just need to bear that in mind as well. Okay, number four was that I'm up to. ADHD impacts every part of life, not just school. It can affect basically your relationships, your work, your everyday lifestyle of basically maybe if you're just sitting at home watching TV or doing some form of activity that requires your full attention as well, be it doing a model car, here's an example. Number 5, ADHD can occur in both adults and children. It's a given that many people has made the mistake that ADHD only occurs in children. No, obviously it does happen in adults now too, because as you grow it up, sometimes it lives with you for a day in and day out. Alright, number 6, ADHD impairs the brain's prefrontal cortex, which obviously what I mean here, in this part of the brain, what happens there of the function with this prefrontal cortex is basically it deals with focusing, decision making, and managing everyday tasks. Number 6, but there are a lot of symptoms as ADHD can present differently to people. Yes, it is important to know that how the symptoms are present themselves basically when it does arise, and we need to educate ourselves about some coping strategies for us, so that the ones that do go through this ADHD, that we can find the right treatment or coping strategies for them. Number 7, ADHD sometimes makes it difficult to filter out thoughts, so the one with ADHD ends up letting things out of the ordinary, and they don't mean to say what they say sometimes when it blurts out, because obviously what I mean here is when it comes to the filtering stage of the process of thinking excuse me, is that basically they're trying to obviously collect every information that they can while they're hyper focused or whatever it may be, and sometimes within that they'll just say things without maybe realizing it's too late, that it's just been said and done. And obviously when it comes down to it, similar to how maybe someone with Tourette's, excuse me. But anyway, moving on. Number 9, it can make the emotions, they may feel more intense and harder to control. What I mean here is some say it's like a piece of wire. People that has ADHD says it's like a piece of wire with a short fuse. So imagine that for a time of a wire with a short fuse, and it's hard to rein in the negative emotions, and this can cause others that doesn't have ADHD frustration, anger, and the like of mixed emotions, and trying to isolate the ones with ADHD. Number 10, people with ADHD genuinely have a difficult time estimating how long it takes to do the everyday tasks. Obviously sometimes people with ADHD struggles with time management skills, or they struggle with just basically trying to keep to the task at hand, or just needs to remove themselves from that task that they do, regardless what it may be. Number 11, people with ADHD can't handle a lot of stimuli at once, like sounds, smells, touch, taste, whatever. Number 12, people with ADHD often sticks with the one task at a time, or else they may get too overwhelmed. It's a given sometimes people with ADHD feels like they can't do anything because they don't know where to begin, or they know where to begin it and then they just find it hard to finish or whatever. So it's a 50-50 split there on a scale there, like what I say about people with Asperger's syndrome. Number 13 is basically medications doesn't give people with ADHD an advantage, it just levels the playing field for them. What I mean here is obviously like any medication, it helps them to cope basically in everyday things, no matter what it may be. Number 14, which is why, and number 14, as I've stated above, is why people with ADHD, like when others ask for like a recreational drug for basically, thinking just because they're on a high, or they're, their ADHD is leveled, that they feel that it's okay to use it, as a recreational drug. But it is now a given that some drugs that is given to people with ADHD is used as that, however, which is a sad fact, but it's life. Number 15, and even when the meds they do take, however, they have to work extra harder to focus and stay on track of what they are doing at that time. Is all. Number 16, people with ADHD can't change the fact and how they think and learn differently. Number 17, being in a romantic relationship can make it more difficult for them than it already is. Number 18, people with ADHD often experience self-esteem issues. Number 19, sometimes they may think they're a burden to others, the ones with ADHD. Number 20, it's just as frustrating for them to deal and cope with ADHD as it is for anyone who hasn't got ADHD, to try and help, them in one way or another to meet their needs and what have you. Number 21, it's quite common that people with ADHD too also will suffer from depression and or anxiety. Number 22, people with ADHD pull themselves into their work because it's a way to release the constant thoughts. Number 23, people with ADHD are great at starting things but will often, struggle or have problems finishing them. Number 24, it takes longer to complete tasks because people with ADHD has trouble taking out the steps. This is because they have to work twice as hard to get the simplest of tasks done. Number 25, having ADHD can make it difficult to engage in a simple conversation. Number 26, it's hard for them to listen. Don't assume or dismiss it like that. They're not fully focusing on you, or they don't even care about what you're actually saying, as this is the complete opposite. It's not true. Number 27, living with ADHD can be exhausting. As you know, basically people with ADHD in their body and mind obviously is so warped up, it's going stir crazy at a certain speed that they can't control, that causes excessive tiredness due to the increased functioning of the body and mind. Number 28, sometimes people with ADHD can only function with structure and routines. Not always, but some of them. Number 29, having ADHD doesn't make you any less intelligent. It's far from it. Obviously, people with ADHD and many other conditions can shine out their hidden talents when the need arises. Number 30, having ADHD doesn't make you lazy either. It makes you work twice as hard. Number 31, ADHD doesn't stop when it's time to sleep. It actually kicks into overdrive and makes you have all these racing thoughts and everything else, which is a given. Number 32, when apologising for the impulsive behaviour, they usually really mean it, even if it's for the 100th time and you get sick or tired of hearing them apologising, and you try to tell them basically how it is, basically stop apologising and stuff. But then again, you need to be aware of what they are. Obviously, number 33, you can tell someone that has ADHD is struggling just by looking at them. Number 34, ADHD isn't a choice, however, like many other mental health disorders. Number 35, last but not least, is it means the world to them, basically, to the ones with ADHD, when people are supportive, empathetic and patient, obviously, like any other mental health disorders. So basically, that ends, obviously, 35 things that people with ADHD wants some other people to know about. Give me a like, for thumbs up for support, comment below if I've missed out anything, or feel free to comment if there's anything that you feel to share that you want people to know about. Feel free to have this as an open discussion. Feel free to private message me if the need arises on AspieAnswersAll, on my Facebook page, or even just on YouTube. Feel free to follow me on my social media sites that's linked in the description. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. As I said, hopefully on the daily or weekly I'll be uploading. Just feel free to also, if you are subscribed to my channel or you're about to subscribe, to have the notification bell so that you know that I'm around, obviously, even if I'm not presently on my channel. Feel free to basically share these videos around to family and friends, because as I said, these need to be addressed, as well as many other ones that I feel to share with you all. So on all further guys, thanks for your support, thanks for watching, do what you love what you do, much love, Aspie signing.